And then I'm going to try to share it into live on Facebook. That's okay. Okay. Share to your group. Oh dear heavens. Well, I cannot live stream it because I'm not Debbie and it doesn't have that group. So we will not share it, but I'll grab the recording and post it in the group. Okay. So welcome now, Mary, you're sideways. I don't know what you did, but you're like this instead of like this.
I'm playing. Go ahead.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our monthly Team Synergy Zoom. And this month, we are thrilled to have once again a special guest with us, executive consultant Gabe Pearson, who's at the tippy top of the company and at the top of our team. And he has mastered what we call the compensation plan, as in how you're paid. And the last time he gave us a little training, it was the foundations of his 3x3x3 matrix, which is, we all can find 3 people who see this the way we see it. Eventually, maybe 3 people this week, it may be 3 people this month, it may be 3 people in the year. And then he talked about how to build on that. And today he's going to take it a little bit more advanced, a little bit further. And I am so excited and honored to introduce our leader, or as Mary calls him, Papa or Uncle Gabe, but Gabe Pearson. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Sean. I appreciate the kind words. It's been an amazing 14 and a half years, and anything that I can do to, share with all of you tonight to make one little dent in the dent, it's massive. It's huge. All right. And yes, it's taken me a while to figure this business model out, but it's been the best thing I've ever done in my life. And before I kind of get into that, I'm going to kind of go back from last month and kind of, just kind of help you understand and remember basically what I covered. But what I want all of you to be thinking about before I do that is, I'm going to enroll a consultant tomorrow morning, and this conversation started with him a few days ago. And I'm all about building vision. That's my, forte. That's how I built this business. I led with opportunity, and I got to know this guy in the gym. I'm strategically looking for younger people to be in my organization. And this guy is amazing. And as I got to know what he did, I asked him this question. I go, what would you consider and I want some feedback from all of you too. What would you consider a perfect business model? I mean, think about that for a second. All of you are very successful that are on this webinar tonight. And I'll just kind of start, hopefully I can start all of you chiming in, because I want to get about 8, 9, 10 different, examples, right? Because I started out in the fitness business and owning gyms, the first thing that came to my mind was low barrier entry, right? I mean, I spent in 1987, it cost me $500,000, to start that gym. I didn't have $500,000. So what did I have to do? I had to go to a bank, and I did something I shouldn't have done. And that was sign a personal guarantee, right? So in other words, it was $18,000 a month. What was my payments? And if I didn't make those payments, I basically told the bank they can have my house, right? So I said low barrier entry. Anybody want to add to that of a picture perfect business model?
Just unmute yourself if you do. Dr. Goodman had one, he put in the chat.
Or how about no risk?
Yeah.
Would that attract some people looking at businesses?
Absolutely. My big thing was, no employees. I didn't want to have to manage employees.
Exactly.
And then the flexibility of hours and where you work in charge of your own time. That's what Dr. Goodman said.
Absolutely.
sure.
How about no competition, right? We're the
That's
first to
good.
market. What you know, that's like, Dr. Mary being the only naturopath in the world, Dr. McKee being the only radiologist in the world, right? So be thinking like that. That's how I think. And I've made a big difference in how I've been able to build my business. We've got so much more that we could add to that. How about unlimited income potential? You're not
That's huge.
dictating what your value is to the marketplace. I talked to this guy, he just got a job, just got out of the Navy, and he's making 75,000 a year. And I go, you allowed them to dictate what your value is to the marketplace. Why? So I love that. These are things that I like. And then we can talk about a consumable product, right? We're not selling shirts, one-time deal, and you got to hope that person comes back in. Do you see where I'm going with this? So I want you to be thinking like that. I want you to build vision on what you have in your hands. And I personally just don't think we do a good enough job with that. We're great talking about the science, this particular team, right? You guys are scientists, PhDs, right? You're all about facts, right? Stories is what sells. Remember that. So if you can be first to market, starting a new trend, creating new category from a product standpoint, right? No competition, no employees, no moving parts. Think about what LifeVantage does for us from a business standpoint. They do everything. If there's a change in the website, do we have to worry about doing that? Do we have to worry about promotions, incentives, sending product out, inventory, finance, marketing, HR? As
Legal.
Dr. McKee said, employees, yikes. We have none of that. And you don't even, if you want, there's not even any overhead. Okay. We don't recommend that because we want you all on products, right? But still, you could be making enough money to get your products for free and still have no overhead, right? So I want you to be thinking about that. So let me share my screen, because that's something that's extremely important when it comes to talking to people about this opportunity. Okay. So what we talked about, and I'm not going to go through this. This is what we talked about last week. This is something that I really think that everyone really needs to focus on, right? And I know there's people that are just interested in selling product. I mean, their life's mission is to help people get healthier. So they're so involved, in the products. But also, you want to tell the whole story, right? There's people out there that are looking for something, and guess what? They don't know what they're looking for. They're just open. At the end of the month, there's things that are not being paid, right? So they might be looking for just a few extra $100 a month. They might be looking for, how am I going to start a college fund for my kids' tuition? Or how am I going to pay it off? How am I going to get out of credit card debt, right? How am I going to be able to buy my first home, right? There's all kinds of things that are happening. And what I was told to do is just follow this template. It's a picture perfect template. That's not going to happen. So this is something that all of you should be very cognizant about having, different business, partners. I call them teams, because the wider once you understand the whole thing, the reason I'm saying all this is about the compensation plan. The wider that you go, simply the more money you're going to make. It's that simple. Width is for wealth. Write that down. Okay. You want multiple teams building teams, and their teams building teams. Okay. And more importantly, that's when you're able to leverage. There's only 24 hours in a day, folks, and we got to sleep at least 6 or 7, right? You know, so it's what John Rockefeller said. He would much rather have been paid 1% of the efforts of 100 men instead of 100% of his own. And once you start learning how to duplicate like that, that's when the business starts to grow without you, right? So what I did and what I do for everyone is I just dummy it down, okay? And just go out and get 3 people that you want to travel with, you want to have fun with, and you want to make money with, right? And then that's why we came up with that 6-month plan to be able to show them the little bit of effort that you can actually do with this business model. You can make a decent income. So always be cognizant about duplication, about you're building a network and you're actually building a sales organization. That's if you want to start making money while you sleep. That's if you want to build an annuity that you can walk away from anything that you're currently doing right now. It's the only way. You won't be able to do that with just customers. Okay. I promise you. All right. All right. So I'm not going to go into this. This is what I want to go into. Okay. Do you remember last month when I talked about just getting 3 new customers a month? And then doing that for 6 consecutive months. Well, I've got a little bit of feedback, and a lot of you had issues on understanding how I came up with, with this money. Okay. So I want you to be able to teach this to your teams. Okay. So, and I have partly to blame because where I put bonus right here, I just wasn't clear enough because there's actually 2 bonuses that are included here. Okay. So let me just go over this with you so I can help you understand where the numbers came from. Okay. Okay, so based on a $150 order, and I said 3 new customers. So 150, 150, and 150, right? So you have 450 in volume. Well, if you remember, let me go back here. If you remember the customer sales profit, you're gonna make 10%, right? On your initial orders. So what's 10% of 450? $45, right? Well, in the fast start, when you enroll 3 new customers, they're going to bonus you 50 more bucks. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's where the $95 comes from in the first month. So if you enroll 3 new customers in the month of April, right, at a $150 order, and that's all you do, and your brand spanking new, expect a check for $95 for the month. Okay. Now, what if you repeated that on month 2? You went out and did the exact same thing, right? So now you have 6 orders of 150. So what's 450 and 450? We're just going to double it, right? That's easy math. I don't have to use a calculator yet, right? What's 900? Okay. Well, 10% of 900 is where the $90 comes in. That makes sense? Well, 900, let me go back here. I'm sorry to keep doing this, but I want you to see this. You see in the personal sales bonus, the first month, we only had 450, right? So we couldn't add another 5% bonus. But on month 2, now you have 900, right? So now you get to add a 5% bonus. You with me? So let me come back over here.
Yeah.
Month 2, right? You have, because everyone's saying, well, this doesn't make sense. If anything, based on this, that should be $100 because they got 3 new customers, right? Well, basically, it's my mistake. I should have been more clear on this. Okay. So because we have 900 in volume, we get an extra 5%, right? So what's 5% of 900, right? It's 45, right? And then you get the $50 because you enrolled 3 more people. That makes sense? That's where the 95 comes from. So 90 plus 95 and the 2 bonus. I should say that this is 2 bonuses. This is the, the gemstone bonus, and this is the fast track bonus, right? Because we got an extra 5%. So that's where the 185 comes in. Everybody with me?
It's a little confusing because they're not broken out in each individual bonus, but
Yeah, I know. It was just, I talked to Deb about 5:30, and it just would have taken too long for me to do that, to be ready by 7. So just kind of be with me. And what I should have done, I've wrote it out, and this what should be on the screens. And I can make this a PDF and send it to everybody, but just stay with me. Don't for me, my faults is when I don't understand something, it's strictly technology, I shut down. Don't shut down.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Because it's really not that hard. All right. So if you do the same month 3, we've got 9 customers at 150. That's 1,350, right? Everybody with me on that?
Yep.
Okay. So if I go back to the screen, check this out. Now we just advanced. We're no longer Onyx because we have 1,350 in customer volume. So now we get to factor in 10% when we factor in that bonus. Okay. So if you look at that, 1,350, 10% is $135, right? And then another 10%, because now, we're Emerald, is another 135. Did you get 3 more customers for the month? Yes. So you got another $50, right? So 135 plus 185 is how we got the 320. Everybody with me?
Absolutely.
Okay, now the 90 days is up, right? The fast track only is for 90 days. So now we lose the $50. That makes sense to everybody?
Yep.
Okay, so look at month 4. Month 4, we just do the same thing. We get 3 new customers. So 12 customers total times 150, that's 1,800. Okay. Well, we're going to get our 10% from the customer's profit, right? That's 180, right? We're still at 18. We're at 1,800. We're not at 2,000. So we're not Sapphire yet. So you get another 10%, right? Because, we are Emerald, right? So that's 180 and 180. That's where I got the 360. Unfortunately, it's not, the fast start's not 120 days. It's 90 days. So now we don't get the $50. All right. And I think, that's where somebody is trying to figure out the numbers. And then we just do it 2 more months. Month 5, same thing. We get 3 new customers at 150, right? 15 times 150 is 2,250. Okay. Now 2,250, do we see something? 2,250. Now we're in the Sapphire range. You only need 2,000, right? So now we get to factor in 15%. How cool is that? So 2,250, 10% is 225. And then 15% of 2,250 is $337 for a total of 562. And then the last month, and of course I could go on and we can get all the way to diamond, right? I just did 6 months.
Gabe, what's really great about this whole system is they don't have to worry about all those calculations because LifeVantage is doing it for them, and they're going to get their just dessert. All they have to do is continue to enroll 3 customers, which just makes it brilliant.
That's exactly right. And honestly, that's exactly how I learned the compensation plan. Once I got my check in my back office, I just reverse engineered. How did I get that money? And that's how I taught myself the compensation plan. Okay. So you're absolutely, the company does everything for us. You know what we only have to do? we we just go out and get customers and get customer getters. And LifeVantage does everything else for us. Think about that. Think about what it takes to operate a business today, all the moving parts. Don't have to worry about it. Okay. In the last month, you just take your 18 customers and times it by 150. We're just doing the same thing. 3 new customers for the month. So now we have a total of 18, which is $2,700, right? Multiply that by 10%. There's where the 270 comes in. And then we get another 15%. 15% of 2,700 is 405. And that's where the 675 comes in. So if you feel like I'll make this a PDF so you have this, because I think everybody should be able to teach that. If a brand new customer who might be, I'm not anal at all when it comes to this. I just want to just go do the do and I worry about what I get later. But you're going to have some people that are very anal and they want to understand this because they want to be able to explain it to somebody if somebody asks them. Now you're able to do that. Okay. And you can take it all the way down more months if you want to get over 4,000 and see what the numbers are. They're insane. Now think about this for a second. The only thing that you have done is enrolled 1 customer a week. That's it. I mean, you can do all 3 in 1 week and have the 3 weeks off, right? Think how little that is. Okay. What I want you to understand, pardon me?
It's like an interest-bearing account, isn't it? It sort of continues to multiply upon itself with just a very small, amount of work and investment.
And see, I'm always thinking opportunity. I mean, when I see y'all's faces, I see dollar signs. That's how I operate in my head. You know what I would tell somebody? Listen to me very carefully. How would you like to do that and get paid $675 a month, month after month after month after month? With only if you want to go out and get a new car and it's cost $675, that's all you have to do, and you can maintain it every single month. And you know what you have as an arsenal? You have an incredible team of probably the most prestigious doctors that we have in this country that will educate your customers on why they need to stay on this product. You don't even have to do that. I leverage my team, right? I let, the most brilliant people on my team help me sustain my business, right? I don't have to do it. So when you are looking at recruiting people, recruit up. That's all I did is I surrounded myself with people smarter than me. When my kids were young, I would say this to my kids almost every day. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. That's simple, right? Because I knew that if I surrounded myself, with people that were smarter and better than me, that would lift me up. And that's precisely what I did. So that's an element to this business right here. We have incredible people. We have people on the scientific advisory board that's on this team that can help you grow your business by plugging them into the system. That's simple. Okay. I mean, that's how I see things. I don't see things from a chemistry standpoint on how it's broken down and what these products do. I see dollar signs everywhere, but that's just my brain. So if you take this, what if, now remember, let's go back here now. What if this is you up here, right? And you go find 3 people that want to go find those 18 customers. Do the same thing. Can you get 1 person a week that's buying these category creating products? They're only spending $150. Well, sure, I could do that. Well, you remember if you go 6 months, you remember what the total volume was? 2,700, right? What's 2,700 times 4? And the reason why I say 4 and not 3, because you have to do the do. You have to lead by example. So if you just teach 3 people just to go get customers, 1 a week for 6 months, right? 18 customers. That now you're what's called an MC1 in this business. Your volume would be 10,800. And all you did was get 1 customer a week, all right, for 6 months and took the last week off, or
Yeah,
however
right.
you want to do it.
Take a
You
week
know,
off.
Dr. Goodman can enroll 18 in 1 day if he wanted and take the whole month off, right? So if you're teaching people this and they see that, and then they're looking at the compensation plan, they're looking at, okay, MC1, whoa, well, look, the average income is $1,649 a month. Well, that's pretty cool. So that's how I want a lot of you to be thinking. Think on terms like that. And by the way, what I'm thinking about this, try to learn the new comp plan rank advancements. Okay, let's try not to say Pro 4 anymore, or Pro 5 anymore, or whatever rank, because they're gone. Okay, and we don't want to confuse the new people because we're confused. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So we need to learn, and it's broken down into share, build and grow, and lead. And the share is just consultant, consultant 1, consultant 2, consultant 3. And then the build and grow is senior consultant 1, 2, and 3, and then managing consultant 1, 2, and 3. They're real simple if you really just look at it for a few minutes and just see what they've done. And then the executives is executive 1, 2, 3, 4, and then presidential. Okay. So what we need to start doing is we need to start teaching these new people that there's no Pro 3s, Pro 4s anymore. Okay. We need to kind of move on from that. Any questions on those numbers? Is everybody with me there? And I wish I'd had a more of a perfect slide, but what I'll do is I'll make sure I get a PDF and send it to Deb, and she can put it on the team chat. Okay.
Gabe,
Yes.
in your presentation, you focused on mostly customers at this point, but can you speak to how, if someone were to have a customer that converted to a consultant, how that sort of changes that and sort of escalates the whole thing? Because up to this point, you're just talking strictly customers.
Right. And this is what I've seen in 14 and a half years. And Deb and I talked about this today, because this group of individuals that are on this team are high achievers. You are hyper recruiters. You're a hyper recruiter in what you do for what you do for a living, and I'm not talking about LifeVantage. So, I mean, think about the numbers. The numbers range between 20 and 30%. So what if you have, for the first year, let's just take the first year, you were just focused on adding value to your practice, right? You want to, make people healthier, and you want to educate them on this new science, and you got them on the product. So let's say for the year, you brought in 3 people, a month, right? So 18 and 18, 36. At the end of the year, you have 36 customers. You know what the exchange rate is from some of those customers to upgrade to consultant? It's between 20 and 30%. So think about that. So the more customers you have, the bigger pot there is of them to upgrade. So if you have, 100, customers, you can see 20 to 30 of them upgrade. And especially if you're leading by building vision on what this business has done for you, right? I mean, if you really think about this is an asset, not a liability. When you own your own business, it's a lot of times it's a liability. There's no money at the end of the year, right? So it's an asset. And then slowly but surely, it just grows exponentially. And if you throw in a comment here or there, I know you know someone that would benefit from these products. Why don't you try to at least get your product for free? Why don't you, get on this mountaintop with me and share to the world what this new science is all about? Okay. And I'm telling you, just by being in their ear, very, very subtle, right? You're not coming down on them and being hard charger as far as trying to close them. It's just throwing it out there. And it's amazing to me on how many will upgrade on their own without you talking to them about it, right? They start to figure this out. So yes, Neil, that is something that happens all the time. Okay. I've always, my mindset is I've always told myself, how many people, Gabe, that want to make more money in 24 than 23? And my answer is every last one of them, right? And then all I do is probe. I ask questions. Hey, are you open? What's going on right now? I mean, if you really think about the close, the very first thing that you want to do is you want to find their problem, right? What's going on? What are you hoping for? In a picture perfect world, what could you see yourself doing if money and time was not in the way? Let them start answering. And then when they say something, say why. And then when they say that answer, say why. And then you'll start to find out what this person really inside, deep down, really wants out of life.
I love
And
that.
that's what this opportunity will bring them. So then you let them know that we have a solution to their problem, right?
You know
And
what we
I
just said?
always,
Oh, sorry.
pardon me.
I'm so sorry.
I always pull back, right? Well, maybe this isn't the right time. If they start, kind of give me an objection or so, well, maybe this is not the right time for you then. You're not who I'm looking for right now. I'm looking for somebody that's ready. And if you're not ready, I can send you some information if you give me permission every 30, 60, or 90 days. Just let you know, what new countries the company, opened, or what new products we just came out with, or where the stock is. And then if you ask for permission to be able to do that, they always say yes. And guess what they do when you do send that information? They read it. Okay. So you want to have a pipeline or a funnel just full of, and every one of your customers, by the way, are in that funnel, right? But you just want to have a ton of them. And they just start sorting themselves out how things go on. And then you want to close them. So that's a whole different training. Okay, so what I want to go into tonight is the build and grow section of the compensation plan. So before I go, any questions? Okay, I'm gonna stop this share right here, and I have another. See if this comes up, and everything is working good tonight.
Yay.
I love it. All right, uh-oh. What'd I do? See that? That's technology getting me.
Hey, Gabe, you made a reference to people's practice, but of course, not everybody in LifeVantage has a practice or is a clinician. And so this is not to state that people who don't have a practice or aren't in the healthcare industry can't share this, because it's not restricted to doctors or clinicians or medical professionals. This is just a very unusual group.
Absolutely. And I'm speaking to the group, but more so, you're going to have people that don't have that opportunity, but there is an opportunity for them, or they know people that have a practice, you know? So, I mean, I could go on and on and on and just kind of untangle this massive web of opportunity on who you can approach and how you can grow exponential from people that you introduce this to people that they introduce this to, and those are people that you don't know. It's crazy, you know? So, I mean, it's funny. I was listening to a presentation that I did in Jackson, Mississippi today, because I was looking for something else. I just happened to, it was a presentation I did for John Zier. You remember John Zier, Sean?
I do.
And Fred Davis. And I just hit Pro 7. So I've been in the business 19 months and I had 900 distributors in my organization already in those 19 months.
That's crazy.
That's all we did was lead with opportunity, right? I mean, the product is going to stand on its own. You're going to have a massive amount of customers because the product sells itself. Okay.
What I love what you said is, you find a need and then you offer a solution. You make a friend find a need and offer a solution. That can be said for the opportunity and the products.
Absolutely.
Everybody
Yes.
wants more time and more income.
Yeah. See, I mean, don't take this wrong. I mean, I don't know if I even should say this because, I don't look for sick people to be in my business.
Same. I don't.
Because I know what comes with that, right? But so many people, when someone says, oh my goodness, I have fibromyalgia or I have these splitting headaches and I just can't think, they don't, I mean, they're talking not only about the product, but they're talking about opportunity. I don't go down that road. I'm looking for someone who's busy. And I'm asking them, what do you want to, do you have a solution for you to be unbusy?
Yep. And I love that because that's exactly what your mentor told you when you were like, he says,
It changed my life.
He said, how are you going to?
It shook me to the core because I valued myself, probably like a lot of doctors do today. I valued myself by how many people I trained in a day. Right. Well, I was working 14 hours and I was walking around. That's right. I'm bad. I'm good. Right. And in the meantime, I never saw my family. Yeah. My thinking was off kilter. Okay. Now I've been able to spend any time that I want with my two kids who are now 24 and 21. And you know how they've turned out. It's amazing to me. But this right here is really the nuts and bolts of our business. This is what makes our compensation plan so good because we are not a binary. Okay.
Are you sharing your screen because we're not seeing it?
Oh, you don't see that? Uh-oh.
See Zoom. It's just a Zoom screen that you're sharing.
All right. So how would I share it? I thought I did share.
You might just. I would reshare, like stop sharing and then share again.
Okay.
And then just make sure you see the slide that you want to see and share that screen. Yes.
Can you see it?
Perfect.
All right. I don't know what I did the first time around. This really starts getting into a little bit of your understanding how our compensation plan works. Okay. And, you can see, your personal purchases up here, your sales volume underneath, your group sales volume, and your maximum volume rule. Don't let all those terms freak you out. It's very, very simple. Okay. Most of you on here, if not all of you, know that, our personal purchase, we can only utilize 150 of that 300, right? I mean, just listen to me very carefully here. I never teach when someone just signs up, I never tell them if they're a consultant, or actually a consultant one that, you only need 150 in sales volume to be paid. I mean, when you're a senior consultant one, that's when you have 2,000 in volume. That's when you're going to need the 300. So set that standard from day one. And I don't even like talking minimums. And nobody here on that you have the minimum here. But it's just, listen, to be paid 100% of the compensation plan, you at a minimum need 300 in sales volume. And of the 300 in sales volume, you can utilize 150 of it. So you can be consuming 150 and you can go out and get customers that total 150 and there's your 300. And if you don't have the 150 right now to buy because you just bought a pack, just go out and get 300 in customers and you're good to go. Okay. And that's exactly how I teach, because I'll tell them, well, look at presidential. What's that number? It's 300. You know, I mean, if I was LifeVantage, I would start out at 150 and end up at 1,000. If, move up, in sales volume as you move up in rank. I can't believe they keep it at 300. I mean, that is so easy to do. Okay. So look at this consultant 3 right here. Okay. You need 1,000 in volume to become a consultant 3. And this maximum volume rule underneath, all that means, if you have one team, okay, so you have one consultant on your team and they do 1,200 in volume and you don't have a second team, or you don't have any customers that adds up 250, you're not qualified as a consultant 3. Okay. So let me say that again. If you have just one team and that team has 1,200, and let's say, because you can only max out 750 of that 1,200. Well, you need 1,000. So you need 250 to come from somewhere else. Well, what if you only had 150 in customers? You're still short, right? So that's why in this compensation plan, you want to start going wide. When you get customers, they're all in one bucket. Think of it like that. Okay. And they add for the volume, but it's very difficult to make a lot of money in this business just by getting customers only. Okay. So that's why I said with this for wealth. So if you have another team, okay, think about the 3x3x3. Well, what if you just have 2 teams? You don't have the third one yet. The first one, did 1,000, in volume, and the second one did 300. Well, you can only pull for 750 on that first team, but because the second team had 300, now you're going to be paid as a consultant 3. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah. I just like to look at it like you just need, like for a consultant 3, you just need 250 outside of your big leg.
Think of it like that. It's the easiest way to say it. You need 250 out. Exactly. And if you just look at the next rank, which is senior consultant 1, now you need 2,000, right? You can only max out at 1,500. So you need 500 on an outside leg. That's it. Okay. And when you start going wide, I mean, you can get away with 2 teams for a while, right? But then it gets hard because if you want to become, managing consultant 1, you can only pull 6,000 from one team. That means if you only have one other team, they have to do 4,000. Wouldn't it be better if you had 3 other teams and all 4 of them total did 1,000 each for your 4,000? It's a lot quicker to get there than it is working to get them to 4,000. Those numbers add up so much faster the wider that you go. Okay. And they all add towards your qualification to rank advance, right? Other than the max. So you should never think about max. If you want to become a managing consultant 1, and that's 10,000 in volume, what would be the picture perfect balance? Not counting your customers now. 4 teams that do 2,500. You want to be equally balanced. Like right now, I have 3 legs that are equally balanced and they all do over 300,000. The only reason I'm not being paid as a presidential consultant, I'm being paid as an executive consultant for, is just because I don't have a million that I'm doing a month now. It's not because I'm unbalanced. There's a lot of people that aren't being paid as a presidential, but have 1.8 million in their business, but they're so unbalanced. I don't have that problem. So every time I reached a rank, I was paid as that rank because I went wide. Does that make sense?
That's
So
awesome.
as you're accumulating your customers, which is great, I expect everybody here to be triple and quadruple diamond with your backgrounds, but you have the credibility, you have the integrity to triple and quadruple what I've done. I'm not even on your playing field on what I've accomplished in my life. Okay. It's there for the taking, but you have to believe in this business. 100%. If you're talking to somebody about this business and you're not 100% sold on, I don't call it network marketing anymore. I call it a business where I don't get what I want until I help enough people get what they want. That's the business I'm in. Right? You can say network marketing if you want, but if you're not 100% committed, if you're 99.9, that person that you are talking to will sniff out that 0.1%, and they'll eat at you like it's cancer, and they will win. You're all in or you're not. It's that simple. Okay. And what I love about this compensation plan is as you rank advance, look at the levels. Okay. So to be paid on all 9 levels, you just have to be a managing consultant 3 now. The old compensation plan, you had to be a pro 7. And by the way, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say pro 7, executive 1. And the old executive 1 was 100,000 in volume, not 80. And you needed 3 legs. You can actually get away with 2 legs here. It's crazy. They made it easier for us, right? And the percentages, are incredible, right? The percentages on our level 1 on the old comp plan was 2%. What is it now? I don't see any 2% there, do you? Second level was 5%. Third level was our biggest level, it was 9%. And then it was 5 all the way down. So it's very similar, but think about all the newbies. Think about the average person in this business that will go out and, maybe only be able to become a managing consultant 1. They're still getting paid some good percentage. They're making a lot more money than the old managing consultant ones did in the last compensation plan. So I'll just tell you this, because I'm balanced, when we switched over in March of last year and this compensation plan, we made $12,000 more. My
That's
volume was the same. I just made 12,000 more because of this right here. So I don't want to get too deep into this, because all you need to understand is every time you want to rank advance, because that adds another level of people that you're getting paid on. And I'm telling you what, I could look at Sean's back office, and on her 4th level, she probably has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. What if she wasn't paid on that 4th level, right? She wouldn't be paid on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And believe me, they add up. Okay. It's massive. It's big. Okay. So these numbers are from a network marketing industry standard, we are above what the average standard is. I mean, we're the most robust and modern compensation plan out there. Okay. And we just so happen to have the best products in the world to be able to do that. Okay. So any questions here?
And the best people.
And you're absolutely right. The integrity of people that are attracted to this company is just incredible to me. And I truly believe because we're publicly traded has a lot to do with that. Because everything's transparent. You can't live by the con. You can't tell somebody, oh, the company did 400 million last month. Can't say stuff like that. I love that. So what I've seen over the 14 and a half years, it actually weeds out people who live by the con. True character always reveals itself. Always. It might take some time, but it always comes out. Okay. So this is really, really exciting right here because this is, the meat and potatoes of your paycheck. Okay. This is what really keeps, that annuity. I call it an annuity every month, that leveraged income, that's, so high. But then you look into the reason why I truly believe the biggest reason why our check increased so much was because the leadership match. And understand this. The only way that you can start to unlock a new way of being paid, and this is the leadership match, is you have to be a managing consultant too. So Mary, if you and I talked on the phone and you wanted some information from me, my whole mindset is to get you there. And that's when you're doing 20,000 in volume, because then you can start matching everyone in your organization that is a managing consultant 1 or higher. And you could have people in your business that have a higher rank than you, by the way. That happens all the time. Okay. So this is big because initially we were only paid on 5 generations. Now you're being paid on 7 generations, and the percentages are higher and they go a lot deeper in your organization. It's really, really crazy. And I'm not going to get into how we got paid last time, but this is a big deal right here. This is an incentive for all of you to, at the very least, you want to build what I call, MC1. You want to build an MC1 movement of consultants in your group. MC1s are people that are doing 10,000 in volume. And once they start doing that, you start getting paid on them from a match standpoint. Okay. Which is really big. And you have to understand, when you get to where Dr. McKee is, you get to where I'm at, you get to these higher ranks up here in the executive levels. We have hundreds of MC1s in our organization. It's crazy. Okay. So as a consultant and you want to build a big paycheck, you want to concentrate on manufacturing as many MC1s in your business as you can. Because if you have MC1s in your business, you're higher than MC2, I can tell you that. Okay. All right. Because you have all that volume, so I'll stop right there and just open this up for questions on anything that you have that you don't understand on the compensation plan. I can answer those questions for you, but I just don't want to go too far forward because a lot of you aren't that far yet. I want to kind of keep it in your wheelhouse. And that wheelhouse right here for the majority of you is that build and growth phase. Okay. So if you're being paid right now as a senior consultant or a managed consultant 1, that would be my mindset. I would think about that 3x3x3 plan and get as many of those consultants as I could. In the first step would be senior consultant 1, which is 2,000 in volume, right? And that's pretty simple to do. If they enroll a consultant in their first month and they have a few customers and that consultant gets a few customers, that 2,000 comes really, really quick, right?
And what I love about SC1 is now you're maxing out that level commission from
Absolutely.
right from SC1. You're getting 10% on everybody whatever they order every month, just like the presidentials.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I mean, this compensation plan, I'm telling you, it is incredible. You know what I wish? I wish we started with this. When this company was growing at 300%, and I was watching Dr. McKee's business go from, these levels, she would rank advance sometimes 2 levels a month. I mean, this business was just doing that. It was growing. It was absolutely insane. So where would we be at today from the old compensation plan? We'd be in a higher tax bracket.
Speaking of which, we can deduct almost everything we do in this business because it's a home-based business. We can deduct,
Well, help me to understand this then. I'm so glad you brought that up. Help me to understand. Now, this is just me thinking. If Dr. Goodman came up to me, and I'm, my kids are his patients, right? And he's telling me how excited he is about the activation of pathways and getting your own body to do what it was meant to do. Help me understand the difference between supplementation versus activation. Supplementation meaning a Band-Aid on a problem. Activation, getting to the root of the problem, right? And now I'm starting to get it. And now I'm asking him questions. Well, how do I get this? How do I get that? And we have 3 price points, right? We have the retail price point, which is the highest. You have the subscription price, which is 10% lower, right? And then you have the consultant price. If I was that patient and Dr. Goodman was showing me how to get on these products, and he explained that I get the products at the lowest price because I'm a consultant. I would want to know more about that. I would want moving forward, I would become a consultant, consume all my products. I would get the business pack because I want to try it all. But more importantly, when I ran out of that product, I still would want to get it at the consultant price.
That's exactly
month
how I came.
After month. Yes, after month after month. And then what Sean just said, oh, by the way, since you have your own business, now there's tax deductions. You can write off this, you can write off that. Why wouldn't anyone? Now, again, this new compensation plan, you got to be careful because a consultant does not go into the customer bucket. It's a completely different way of getting paid, right? So you have to balance it out. You want to become diamonds, right? You want to have at least 4,000. So you max out at 30% on your customers. But again, all of you should be looking at it from a standpoint, well, hey, if I had to do this all over again, this is what I would have done instead of becoming a customer first. I just went ahead and got the biggest bang for my buck because you spend 1,000, you get 1,400 in product, right? And then once you run out of that product, you're able to buy it at the consultant rate, which is the cheapest for here into eternity. And then you have a chance, if you ever wanted, to get your product for free by introducing a few people to get on the product themselves or to do the same thing that you just did.
Gabe, I don't want to belabor talking too much longer and keep everybody, but I do think it is worthwhile to mention that the whole gemstone aspect, which you touched on just briefly, is basically a multiplier. Those people that are initially consultants and are getting under 500 of a sales volume a month are, getting just a straight 10%. But there's this multiplier that kicks in as they hit different volumes that essentially creates 4 times as much payment, as much as 40%, 30% in a month on the same sale, just by multiplying it, just if they hit that in just terms of customer sales. Could you just mention that briefly? Because we've mentioned a lot about ranks and rank structure, but there are a lot of people that are earning a lot of money just getting the multiplier.
Let me get out of, let me go back to that gemstone slide.
It's
Okay.
just another aspect that, depending on what one's focus is, whether it be on sales of customers versus getting further consultants, of course, one has to do with just overall rank structure. But within that, whatever rank you are, you can maximize your compensation from 10% to 30%. That's huge. I mean, imagine 30% of $1,000 versus 10% of $1,000. That's big.
Oh, it is. And this is how big it is. I remember sitting next to Sean in Mexico. Sean, do you remember us calling Deb Viglione when they started to talk? They started to talk about this compensation plan. So I got on the phone with Deb and I said, Deb, what's your sales volume each month? And she goes, oh, average around 8,000. I go, how much do you get paid? And it was really funny. She goes, well, you know what, Gabe, I'm embarrassed to tell you, I don't even know. I go, well, think about the unit level. It was an average of 5%. So that's what I said. I go, you're getting an average of 5%. So what's 5% of 8,000? She was making $400 a month. Okay. On the old compensation plan. Now, what Neil just said, what is 30% of 8,000? She went from 400 a month to 2,400 a month. You see what Neil's talking about? That is a multiplier. That is incredible. So yes, I mean, that 30%, and what I love, it's retroactive. So if you have 15 customers that you're being paid on as a Sapphire, and then you have 5 more customers that takes you into the diamond range, that following month, you get paid 30% on all of them. They're not going to pay only, 30% of the 5 you just got. And, the other 15 you got paid on the other percentages. It's retroactive. I mean, my goodness. I mean, it's crazy the little bit of effort that you have to do to be paid. The compensation plan is insane. So I know we're at 8 o'clock, our time's up. So hopefully that just enlightens you. But remember, tell the whole story. You want to probe, ask questions, find what that problem button is. And everybody's got it. I don't care who they are. If you keep probing and keep probing and keep probing, and you ask why, well, why do you want to spend more time with your family? You're going to start to find out exactly, where that button is, right? And then you ask, what are you doing about it? We've got the solution. I can show you exactly how to get to where you want to go. Are you open to even know what I'm so excited about? So I've always led with opportunity. And if they said no, I closed with them on the product. That's how I've always operated. Okay. So hopefully this helps. More importantly, hopefully you understand, that 6 month by getting 3 customers a month, how the numbers worked out, so you can teach them to other people. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time doing that. Just they need to be picking the phone up. They need to be prospecting. They need to write down a candidate list, a prospect list, and really, really start doing their 15 presentations a month, because all this stuff will work itself out, right? And you'll be able to know exactly where that money came from.
Yep. Okay? It's all about having conversations with people and, like Gabe said, finding out what their needs are and then asking why they want to change that and why and
just ask questions. I mean, we shouldn't be the ones that's doing all the talking. They should be doing all the talking. You're just a good listener, and ask them why. It's crazy. All right. It's so easy if you just take a deep breath and just listen. People will tell you what they want. And most people in this country, are looking for something, they might not know what they're looking for, but they're open. Okay. And when you share with them that this will not interfere with what you're currently doing, you've got their ear for 1 minute. Okay. I want to thank everybody for being on tonight. Thank you so much. It's an honor and privilege just to share a little bit of, words of wisdom to each and every one of you. Hopefully you just grab a little bit each month from me, and over a course of period of time, it'll start rolling off your tongue like it does mine. It's just the way it works.
Absolutely. Yes, that's what we all aspire
Thank
to.
you.
Thank you so much, Gabe, for your wisdom. And
Okay, everybody have a
advice.
great evening, okay?
It's your
Thanks
time,
for
everybody.
getting on.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay, good
Thanks
night.
again. Good night.